Welcome to a quick tour of the GBIF's Latin America and the Caribbean Regional IPT. In this video, we will briefly introduce GBIF Integrated Publishing Toolkit, IPT, and we will explain how the Regional IPT works and how you can get involved in publishing and helping to publish biodiversity-related data from our region through the GBIF network. So, let's start. First, what is IPT? The GBIF Integrated Publishing Toolkit is a free, open-source web application that facilitates the publication and sharing of biodiversity-related information, such as primary taxon occurrence data, taxon checklists, sampling event data, and general metadata about data sources. The IPT can be accessed in two primary ways: as a member of the general public and as a registered user. As a public user, any individual can view the IPT's public homepage and can access all of the resources that have been made public. Registered users will have access to the public homepage as well as any private resources to which they have been granted access rights. The IPT permits a few types of registered users, including managers with and without registration rights and administrators. A manager is an individual who has the ability to view, edit, and delete a specific resource. An administrator is a super manager who can manage all of the resources, public and private, on a given IPT installation, modify the IPT settings, and configure user and organization accounts and registration. The role of the administrators is to enable and facilitate the work of the managers across the community and to maintain the IPT installation. Let's take a very quick tour to see how IPT looks. When opening IPT, any public user will see a screen such as this one, where two upper menus, Home and About, and all public resources are visible. If a registered user logs in, other menus will become available. If the user has a manager role, she or he will also see the menu Manage Resources. If the user is an administrator, an administration tab will also become available. The menu Manage Resources allows the registered user to edit those resources to which she or he has been given rights and to create new resources. The administration menu contains options for changing the IPT settings, administering users and organizations' accounts and registration, and installing and updating data core types and extensions, among others. Now, we will focus on the Latin America and the Caribbean IPT, or IPT LAC. IPT LAC is an IPT installation hosted by the GBIF Secretariat to support data sharing and host data resources generated by publishers in the LAC region. The IPT LAC is maintained by the GBIF Secretariat with the support of a small group of administrators from the LAC community. The IPT LAC works just as any other IPT installation with the same basic functions, requirements, and restrictions necessary to publish data resources. This IPT hosts data from publishers in the LAC region for whom no other IPT installation is available, and we will see later how to know who and when can use it. As with any other IPT installation, every organization that wishes to use the IPT LAC must register as a publisher with GBIF. To become a registered GBIF publisher, each organization must complete a simple form and submit it to the appropriate GBIF participant node for endorsement. When publishing through the IPT LAC, all organizations will agree to abide by the Data Publisher Agreement and GBIF's Terms of Use, which state that all data accessible via the GBIF network are openly and universally available to all users within the framework of the Data Users Agreement, under one of three possible Creative Commons licenses or waivers: CC0, CC BY, or CC BY-NC. The IPT LAC may be used to publish data resources by any organization in the LAC region. However, if a more appropriate IPT instance exists, such as a national node IPT, the organizations may be requested by GBIF or a participant node to use a specific IPT. Publishing organizations should explore national and regional options before resorting to IPT LAC. The following decision tree will help us decide whether IPT LAC would be the appropriate option to share the data. First, we need to identify the publishing organization. If the organization is not from the LAC region, IPT LAC should not be used. Instead, you should contact the GBIF regional representative from your region and use an appropriate IPT. If the organization is from the LAC region, we then need to check if it is already registered with GBIF. If the organization from the LAC region is already registered, you should get in touch with a point of contact at the organization and use either a national IPT or an IPT from the organization in the region. If the organization is not registered, we need to identify whether there is a national or regional node available. If a national node is available, you should contact the node manager and proceed to register the organization. In this case, for publishing the data, you should use a national or organization IPT in the region. If a national node is not available, you will also have to register the organization with GBIF, but you should contact the GBIF regional representative for LAC for assistance. In this case, where the organization is from the LAC region, it is not yet registered with GBIF, and there is no national node available, you may use the IPT LAC for publishing data if no other IPT is recommended by the regional representative or the node steering group. For further information about who can use the IPT LAC, please refer to the IPT LAC guide. There, you will find specific details for natural history collections, individual researchers, and the private sector. For some organizations, using IPT LAC to share data may be a temporary solution, for example, while waiting for a national node or IPT to be implemented. Data resources can be migrated from one IPT instance to another. Using the IPT LAC does not imply any commitment from the user or organization to maintain any resources through this IPT for any specific length of time. If a more appropriate IPT becomes available at a future date, resources can be moved from IPT LAC to that IPT. Conversely, if an existing IPT is removed or ceases to be maintained, resources can be moved from that IPT to the IPT LAC. Remember to check the steps in the IPT LAC guide. As we mentioned earlier, an administrator is a supermanager whose role is to enable and facilitate the work of the managers across the community and to maintain the IPT installation. Anyone who wishes to help the LAC community may propose her or himself as an administrator of the IPT LAC. Preferably, an administrator will have a solid understanding of the data mobilization process, including data capture, data management, and data publication. A strong familiarity with data sharing standards, such as the Darwin Core Standard and GBIF's data mobilization documentation, is important so that the administrator can assist publishers as well as manage the function of the IPT. Members of the GBIF data products and informatics teams are available to provide support as needed. Finally, a good administrator will be able to respond to user requests and troubleshoot basic problems with the IPT in a reasonable time frame. To join the IPT LAC as an administrator, please contact the GBIF regional representative for LAC. Before concluding this video, we would like to share some tips for administrators of the IPT LAC. The first one is a simple rule that will help you avoid unnecessary frustration. If you don't know, ask. If something unexpected has happened with the IPT, or if you simply don't know how to do something, the best practice is to ask somebody who knows. The first place to look for answers should be the GBIF IPT User Manual. If you prefer to ask a real person, you can always contact the GBIF Help Desk, which is run by well-informed real people who will help you to answer any questions you send to them. Asking other IPT administrators is also a great option. Indeed, it is both a good networking opportunity and there is an excellent chance that another administrator or node manager has had to address the same issue at some point in time. Also, do not be afraid to reach out to the members of the node steering group with questions. Please check for relevant links in the IPT guide. Our second tip is about what to do if something in IPT is simply not working. Sometimes this happens because the instance of the IPT in use is out of date. A check to see if the IPT is using the most current version might explain why certain features, functions, or outputs are not working as expected. The GBIF Secretariat has the responsibility to maintain the IPT lag and keep it up to date. But if the latest release is more current than the production version in use, an IPT lag administrator or GBIF regional representative can request that the IPT instance be updated. If an update is applied and the problem persists, ask someone who might provide help using the 3 options mentioned before. Related to the previous tip, our next tip is to keep the IPT extensions and cores up to date. Checking for updates a few times throughout the year is recommended to keep the IPT up to date. Administrators have the ability to add, update, and remove core types and extensions within the IPT. If errors are encountered during installation or update, contact the GBIF Help Desk. All GBIF users can take advantage of continuous learning opportunities. For administrators in particular, this is important to be able to best help others. An excellent way to learn more about data publication and the IPT is to participate in a training workshop when one is offered. GBIF maintains a collection of training and learning resources that can be reviewed or completed at any time, such as the Biodiversity Data Mobilization course. Other opportunities for training and resources can be found on the GBIF list of events and in GBIF news releases. In the LAC region, the Biodiversity Information for Development program is a great way to learn new skills and meet people from the region. Once again, check for relevant links in the IPT guide. IPT LAC administrators may be consulted by individuals or organizations in the region about publishing data resources in the IPT LAC. When adding new resource managers, remember these tips. First, make sure the individual or organization wanting to join the IPT LAC meets the criteria described earlier. If there is no national node or regional IPT available in the region, then guide the individual or organization through the registration and publication processes using IPT LAC. Also, seek help from others as needed. If there is a national or regional node in the country of the individual's or organization's origin, but no IPT is available, then make sure the existing node is informed and engaged in conversation at all times. Remember that if a more appropriate IPT becomes available, for example, a new national IPT after publication on the IPT LAC, and if the existing node and publishing organization agree, migration of the data from one IPT instance to another is possible. In this case, help the publishing organization to move resources from the IPT LAC to the new IPT. Also, keep in mind that ideally, there should be a shared understanding between the existing node and the organization about the use of the IPT LAC. If any conflict arises, seek advice from the node steering group. Finally, encourage the individual or organization to read the IPT LAC guide, the IPT manual, and provide support by answering inquiries, offering technical support, and sharing other relevant information. If these tasks are not possible, please engage another IPT LAG administrator, region-based node manager, or the node steering group for help. We hope you have enjoyed this video, and we invite you to learn more about IPT LAG in the IPT LAG Guide.